everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a 12-hour wear test of this Nude by Nature Radiant Loose Powder Foundation. I purchased this Nude by Nature Mineral Foundation from Shoppers Drug Mart. This 10-gram container was about 30 Canadian dollars to purchase. I think it was 32 Canadian dollars. I have the color N2 Classic Beige. This stuff is made in Australia, and Nude by Nature is an Australian brand. The packaging is very lovely, and the powder itself has this little mesh net to bounce your brush in to pick up the powder. Like I said, I have the color N2 Classic Beige. They have about 9 depths, as far as I can tell, of color from 2 to 10. And within that range, they have divided their shades up into cool, neutral, and warm. And this is the neutral shade. My skin tone's neutral / a little bit cool. This stuff claims to even out your complexion, cover redness and pigmentation, which I have a little bit of redness to work with today. It's supposed to be nourishing, non-drying, it's supposed to help control your oil and shine, and it's fragrance-free. I also picked up their translucent loose finishing powder, which I'm going to set my foundation after it's applied, as well as the Nude by Nature mineral brush. This is number 2, and like I said, I bought my stuff from Shoppers Drug Mart, and their online website blows. It sucks really bad. Even the new one, it's really hard to navigate. It's hard to open up multiple tabs for different products. So this brush is kind of dense, but at the same time, I think I prefer just a slightly more packed, more dense with maybe shorter bristles for applying foundation. They recommend that you use their Flawless brush to apply their powder foundation. And I was trying to order it, and I don't know if the mineral brush is the Flawless brush or not, or if this is like a travel size. But whatever, this is what I got. This is what I'm going to be using. Just in case, I also have this Tarte really dense brush that's, I think, a little bit more appropriate for buffing on your powder. Instructions are to use the Flawless brush to gently push into the mesh on the Radiant Loose powder, and then tap away the excess and apply it to your face. They say to start at the center of your face and then work outwards until you have your desired amount of coverage. Pretty easy. Not wearing a primer today, although I have tested out the Nude by Nature foundation primer, and I actually really like it. It's more like a moisturizer than it is like a primer. You can see my wear test up here, and let's go ahead and start working this foundation into the skin. Alright, I think that's about 1 coat. I'm going to go in with a second layer, at least in the center of my face, just to kind of help build up coverage around my areas that tend to get a little red. I'm just going to grab a smaller brush to see if I can't build up a little bit of extra coverage around the zit area. I'm going to do one final buff with my big kabuki. Actually, I covered my zit area pretty well. It's still there and still slightly pink, but especially with my glasses covering it, it doesn't actually look too bad. And I think the color match is really nice on me. I have a hard time seeing it actually build up when I'm applying it. But then when I went in with the smaller brush, I could really see the color getting laid down. So it might not be a bad idea, especially if you have trouble areas like me, to do just a general sweep all over with a big brush, and then go back in and get the areas that you need to touch up just with a smaller brush, just to make sure that those areas aren't getting missed. So before I set my face, I'm just going to go in with some blush. And I'm just going to use a little bit of highlight as well, just on the top of my cheek. Just a really nice diffused highlight there. And then using the translucent powder, I'm going to go in and set everything. The mesh packaging is actually really nice. It does help kind of control the powderiness, Even if you flip the whole jar upside down, it's not going to go completely everywhere. The ingredients on the setting powder are quite similar to the ingredients on the foundation itself. And one good thing is there's not a ton of ingredients in either of these products. But the setting powder does have like kale and clay in it, which should help with like oil control. Really nice, I would say light medium coverage. You can build it up a little bit, but you're not going to get like perfect skin unless you already have perfect skin using this type of foundation. You might need to experiment with the type of brush that you're using until you get something that really works with you, depending on the amount of coverage that you like. And it is easy to go in and build it up. My skin wasn't like flaky or looking cakey at all, even when I went in with a second layer, which sometimes does happen when I try like the Bare Minerals. If I add too many layers, you can kind of like see a little bit of like dryness kick up or something. So that was really nice. Just gonna throw on a lipstick. Alright, so here is what my skin is looking like. Not too much to say about the translucent powder other than it goes on well, doesn't look super cakey. I'm gonna pop over to Natural Light, I'll let you take a look at how it looks, and then wear this for the next 12 hours, and I'll check back in at the end of the night to let you know how it wore. Here we go. Alright, it's the end of the night, and here's what my skin's looking like. Overall, I felt good all day. Great oil control. I didn't feel oily at all today, although it was also like super cold today. I definitely still see coverage, especially around my nose, on my forehead. My skin kind of has like a natural kind of oily sheen without being oily enough to like feel like you're greasy. And I was really impressed with like how natural my skin looks like. Sometimes it can get a little bit like flaky, and there was absolutely no flaking or anything today. Just good coverage. So now I'm really interested to like take it off and see how much like comes off, just to see how much was actually on my skin. I'm not really sure if the coverage is less than it was before, but at the same time I find that these like mineral foundations tend to look better the longer you wear them. So after 12 hours, I think it's still looking really good. You can still see great coverage on that little spot I had. My highlighter is still there. Let's take it off and just see. Sometimes I get like paranoid, like, do I actually see foundation or not? But yeah, there's definitely foundation coming off, and you can definitely see the coverage kind of melt away. One thing I will say about this color, and again, the color that I had was N2 Classic Beige. It was really close to being the right color, but I found it was either slightly too dark or slightly too yellow. Like, just off enough for me to think that it didn't match my neck and shoulders, but not off enough that I think like someone would really notice, unless, I don't know, they were being like super nitpicky, but like enough for me to notice that maybe something was a little bit off. Having removed my foundation, I definitely think it did add that like nice little bit of extra coverage and blurring, I guess. Like they say, that little bit of blurring that kind of smooths everything out and makes everything look a little bit more put together without you looking like you're actually wearing foundation. So what would I give this foundation out of 5? I thought it was a little bit expensive, especially for like a drugstore brand. $32 for 10 grams. I mean, it looks like a lot of product, and you really don't need a lot as you wear it, so maybe it is a fair price. I love that it's fragrance free. I thought application's good, but it can be a little confusing because sometimes it is hard to see coverage. So again, I would recommend, if you're having issues, seeing if it's doing anything. Definitely switch brushes. Try a harder brush, try a softer brush, try a bigger brush, try a smaller brush, And definitely go back in after you're done your main buffing and use a smaller brush just to kind of touch up where you need, because that's where you really start to like see the coverage pop through. I have noticed a couple times when I've worn it in a past, like when I go in, like say got it on my brush and I like go in and kind of like go out from that one spot, that that first spot can look a little clumpy or patchy, I guess. Like there's too much product on there and it's kind of hard to buff off. So that's probably user error. Just make sure you are tapping your brush off so that you're not applying too much all in one spot, because it can look a little bit cakey if you accidentally go in a little too hard. And I wonder also if I shouldn't have tried maybe the cool color, which I think is Pearl C2, instead of this classic ivory. Wear time was good. Finish was great. Overall, I'm going to give this stuff a 3.5 out of 5. I don't know if I love a mineral foundation enough to like go in as like a daily foundation, just because I feel like my skin's not quite good enough for mineral foundation. So would I recommend it? I guess if you're really into mineral foundations, this would be a good one to try, or loose powder foundations. Otherwise, I kind of feel like you wouldn't really be missing out if you didn't try it. Nude by Nature has a pretty big lineup of different products. So, I mean, this one was good, but was it really mind-blowing? I think if you really wanted to kind of get that mineral powder effect without being committed to this much foundation, you could kind of get a similar skin benefit, as long as you maybe don't have dry skin, with a translucent loose finishing powder. The formula is quite similar to the foundations. I also keep asking myself, like, do I like it better than the Bare Mineral one? Do I not like it more than the Bare Mineral one? I feel like the Bare Mineral one just makes me a little bit more oily throughout the day, and it tends to maybe crease a little bit more than this one. And maybe that's because it's got more coverage. I don't know. It's a hard question. I feel like I just don't like mineral foundations quite enough to have a favorite between the two. So if you put either one in front of me, I'd probably be equally excited. Anyway, guys, it's super late. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. So I hope you enjoyed today's review. If you did, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below for more beauty videos from me. I put out new beauty videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with the love and support of my dear patrons. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you would like to help support my channel, you can donate as little as $2 a month to help me bring you this content. And with that, you guys, I will see you all in my next beauty video. Bye.